when we came out, and frankly, you just don't know. And I haven't gone through a season with these guys yet. To be sitting there 1-3, I didn't know what their mindset would be and how we would approach practice on Monday. But I thought the guys came out and really focused. And there's clearly an attitude among these guys that they weren't ready to quit, and they wanted to fight. And they recognized that the reasons we weren't winning those games that we had an opportunity to, and we were falling short, fell solely on the assignments and execution of our fundamentals. And so they came out and did a great job Monday. And Tuesday and Wednesday are pretty heavy practices for us, and back-to-back, the two best practices we've had since we've been here. And Thursday they came back and did a good job, and that was the difference. Those guys practiced really hard and put the time in, put the investment in, and believed. And I thought just approached the game with such a great mindset, and just a credit to them and their resolve after having been disappointed the last couple of weeks. So it was a great victory for us. That's a very well-coached football team. I've such tremendous respect for Pete Limbo. He and I have faced off against each other before as head coaches, and I just think he does an unbelievable job with his team. The results that they've gotten, going back-to-back bowl games the last 2 years, is a testament to his ability to motivate and to coach. And Kevin Kelly, who's a defensive coordinator, he and I were assistant coaches together for 2 years, and I just think he's an outstanding football coach. And so to beat a team that I think is as talented as they are and as well coached as they are is a big victory for Army, and hopefully something we can build on.
Let's open up for questions. Go ahead, Ron.
Coach, I've rarely heard a coach over the years say that they had bad practices. How would you define, say, this week, saying we had a good practice? What's the difference between that good practice and that better practice or whatever?
Oh, I think I've said before we did practice very well. I've said that lots of times. I don't masquerade about what we are, what we do. We have a bad practice. I tell the kids, I'm not afraid to tell anybody we haven't practiced worth a darn. And we've had some practices this year that haven't been very good, and we need to practice better. But just the intensity, the interactions that we have with offense and defense, and our scout teams practice harder than any scout teams I've ever been around, and it helps our football team. Those guys care, and they compete, and that's a thankless job. We're not going to talk about any of those guys by name up here. Nobody's going to bring up any questions and say, who's your scout team defensive tackle? But I'm going to tell you, those guys work their fannies off, and it makes a difference for our football team, and they compete. And it's just the interaction, the competition, the pace that those guys, our players are trying to push the pace, more plays and more reps, and they were just so thirsty for victory, and to have to be so close and to have it slip through our fingers. They're frustrated and ticked off, and I think wanted to do something about it. So I know our guys really did a great job of focusing on assignments. We've had a lot of trouble with assignments. That's been we can point to missed assignments as a reason for not winning some games that we could have. And I thought we did a really good job at that this week, and it made a big difference.
What's AJ's status?
In terms of health?
Health, yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Why did he come out then?
We just felt like we needed to get Angel in there. It was he had a couple of snaps. He was bobbling the snap a couple of times, and we missed a big opportunity for a play action pass. We had a guy wide open in the first half, and would have been a touchdown. And just hoping that Angel might be able to find those plays. And Angel's played a lot of football, so he's got a lot more experience. I think they're both very similar. AJ does some really good things. He's a hard runner. He's faster, probably faster than Angel if you lined him up and ran him in a race. I don't know if there's a big difference, but just felt like it was time to give Angel a chance to get back in there. And I said last week, people said, well, why are you starting AJ? Well, felt like like he deserved a chance. There's not much difference between the two guys. I think they're both good, tough, hard football players. Play hard, and same today. Just like last week, he came off the bench and did a good job. He came off the bench today and did a good job.
Yes, one more question about something that I asked Angel when he was here. Is there a difference preparation-wise in a quarterback's mind when he knows he's going to start, as AJ did, as opposed to maybe I'll get in the game as Angel? Obviously, they're thinking.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never played quarterback, so I couldn't tell you.
Go ahead, Ken.
Coach, offense had a big day, 425 yards rushing. Larry Dixon had 188 yards. Just tell us a little bit about how the offense performed rushing, especially, and how the offensive line helped that.
I thought the offensive line made the difference, and we had a lot of guys playing that hadn't played a lot of football. We started Corey Hobbs at left tackle, and he hadn't played a lot. Colby Enegren at right guard. We had Shoemaker came off the bench. He did not start the game. He didn't practice all this week, but he came in off the bench and did a good job. We had Stephen Moreau was the starter there, and he's played some, but Hugenberg and McDonald, those were our guys, and I thought those guys really played hard, and they didn't play a perfect game, and we had to make some adjustments on the sideline, talk to them when they came off the field. We missed some blocks. The fourth down there where Angel fell in and they called a touchdown and then reversed the call. We should have had a walk in there, and we didn't stay on the block like we should have, one of those guys. And so we usually give them a pretty good firm talking to when that happens, and I thought those guys responded really well. They were the difference in the game.
And on defense, Andrew King had 10 tackles. Jeremy Timp had another big game. It seemed like the defensive backs were able to keep the plays in front of them today.
We have so much respect for that coaching staff at Ball State and what they're capable of doing with the football. And that's Pete's thing. Like I said, I've played him before, and his teams move the ball up and down the field and score a lot of points. And they got some dangerous guys on their offense, guys that are pretty special with the ball in their hands. So we just tried to do the best we could. I thought Jay Bateman and the defensive staff really had a great plan and kept the ball in front of them and made them throw the ball in front of us. We missed some tackles. That was disappointing, but and that was a result in some big runs and the first long touchdown. And but our guys, they're playing as hard as they can play. And I thought the play that Jeremy made with the interception was a big play. And Carney stripping that ball in the opening drive. It was a big play.
Go ahead, Sal.
Coach, what kind of step do you think the program took today with the win?
That's one win. There's a lot of season left. So it sure feels good to get a victory. And certainly I think it's something we can build on. And the way that we practiced this week, I think, is a message to our team that when you put that kind of effort in practice and you put that kind of focus and energy into making sure you know your assignments and playing your fundamentals as well as you can play them all week, it carries over into the game. And hopefully there'll be some carryover this week that we'll do the same thing. And it's a lot easier to get energized and get excited when you win. And I think any team will tell you that. You can learn things from a loss, but nothing I want to learn. So I hope we can find a way to get in the victory circle again.
Can you talk about the team's energy on the sidelines today during the game? Everybody seemed to be into it. I think I saw a couple times where you threw your hands on the air trying to get the core going into the game. How much did that play into practice? Practicing hard and staying in the game. That kind of stuff.
I heard. I steal this line from Jimbo Fisher. I heard him say it before the national championship game last year. He said, "You don't win the game on emotion; you win it on execution." And he's right. You don't win on emotion alone. We've got guys that are executing their assignments and playing with good fundamentals and technique. And there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of emotion, which helps them to play as hard as they can play. And there is there's an excitement there's an intensity there that helps you execute those assignments and fundamentals a lot better. And I thought our guys were ready to go, and I just felt like they took the field, and they were going to fight as hard as they could to win. Not that guaranteed we were going to win, but I think they weren't going to be denied victory when we got to that point where we had a chance to win. They were going to fight and give everything they got, and part of that energy comes from the environment you're in. I think the Corps of Cadets is, having that group of 4,000 people is an opportunity for us to feed off of their energy and for them to feed off of us. And so I think that really was the motivation there, was to play with high intensity as well as playing with great execution and fundamentals.
Go ahead, John.
Coach, this game had this similar feel to the Buffalo game, but it also didn't seem different. It seemed different because of the interception. Is it different? Do you feel like it's different?
This game different than the Buffalo game?
Yeah, because of the way you finished.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard for me to compare games. The whole mindset going into the Buffalo game is different than the mindset going into this game. You're coming off of 7 months of preparation, 8 months of preparation for an opening game, and just the excitement of that game. And here we were backed into a corner like a boxer, and we could throw the towel in and put our gloves up and try to absorb a bunch of punches and get out of the fight without getting killed, or fight back and fight our way out of the corner. And I think that was the difference in the mindset. We going into the Buffalo game, we were undefeated. We were 0-0, and going into this game, we're 1-3, backs to the wall. And it was, we were either gonna fight our way out of it, or we were gonna be a punching bag. And I really liked the way our guys responded, and that's a credit to those kids. They did it.
Go ahead, Ron.
Coach, did you have any fourth quarter apprehension when they got those 2 touchdowns, and now it's not 27-10, it's 27-24? You're thinking, oh God, not again?
No, I never think, oh God, not again. I mean, I always think we're going to win. It's 27-24. It wasn't 24-27. We were still up a score, and if we take care of the ball and go down and get another score, we stretch back the lead back to two scores. So, which we were able to do. And I don't know. I believe in these kids. I believe that they're going to find a way, and we haven't in a couple of games found a way to do that. But it's not because anybody panicked. It's just we didn't execute our assignments and didn't play with great fundamentals and the effort we needed to all the time. And that's the difference in the game. There's such a fine line between winning and losing. We got blown out at Stanford. They were a pretty good football team, and we could have made it a lot closer. We could have played a lot better. We could have won the game had we done a lot of things differently. But 2 games after that, those are games that our guys recognize. But you know what? If I could have just done this on that play, that might have changed the football game, and they're probably right. And there's not just one play. There's a bunch of plays in those games that could have done that. So I think they were determined today to not have that happen. And I never felt like, oh boy, something's going to happen bad. I think our kids were ready. I thought that they were playing their hearts out, and they were going to find a way to make a play.
Go ahead. Last question, Ken. Go ahead.
Coach, just want to ask you about Dan Gronkowski, who had the 2 field goals today. What'd you work on with him this week after he had the tough game last week?
Well, the doctors up at Keller Army Community, what do they call it? Keller what?
Keller Army Community Hospital.
Yeah, he was there for 3 days. He didn't practice all week, so he's been in the hospital since Tuesday. He got out yesterday. So he's been sick, and as Shaq said, we're probably going to meet him next Tuesday and let him spend a week in the hospital and see if we can get a couple more field goals next week. So and that's the truth. He did a great job. I mean, the kid he's a competitor, and he kicked for the first time today in pregame.